Hey there, fellow adult collectors. Welcome back. David Eon and the lovely Miss Lady Pop Hunter here with another topic of discussion, topic of the day. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with all that stuff? Action figure collectors, toy collectors, trading cards, comic books, statues, whatever it is, you know, pop culture, nostalgia,
coins,
genre that you collect. Yeah, coins. What are you going to do with all that stuff when you die? What's going to happen to it? Because now's the time to really think about that. You got to plan for that. Otherwise, it's all going to end up at an estate sale.
Goodwill.
Yeah, or Goodwill. When tons of stuff like that end up at Goodwill, where do you think it came from?
Yep,
someone died, and the kids or the relatives or whoever it is came along and was like, what's all this crap? And they donated it, or they hire an estate sale service to come and do their assessment of the value of things, which is almost always wrong.
It's either always a lot.
Yeah, it's either too high or it's too low, and then some like comic shop or toy dealer comes along and says, "Oh wow, look at this! They screwed this up," and wipes it all out. Or, you know, they hold yard sales. This is what happens really when you go to those yard sales and you find like amazing pickups, or an estate sale and you find amazing pickups. That's where it came from a lot of the time. There was a guy on Facebook not too long ago that was showing, what was it? I think it was an estate sale. It was after an estate sale, and he was going through the trash, and it was all photo albums in there, pictures of family members and stuff like that. They just throw it out. How many times have you been to Goodwill and you've seen picture frames, and it's still got people's photos in it, real pictures from like the 60s and 70s and even the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, they just donated these. And no, it's relatives, mostly.
Yeah.
On the rare occasion, a storage that got cleaned out, your storage didn't get paid, and they auctioned it, and this is the junk that the dealer didn't want. A lot of that stuff, that's what happens. Because, you know, we go through all this trouble. Yeah. We have all of this great stuff that we invested all this time and money and effort and emotion into, and we want it, but the next person down the line didn't.
Yeah. Your kids don't want it. They don't like it. Your spouse definitely don't, because they've been trying to get rid of it since
their whole
before
life.
Y'all got married.
Yeah, because some I mean, we collect together, but a lot of couples, they don't jive with it.
Yeah, they don't get along with that. And I mean, some people, they won't even leave their spouse alone. It's like, okay, I don't like it, so I'm gonna just leave you alone. Nope, they make it difficult. They make life miserable. But anyway, we're talking about what are you gonna do when you die. I mean, some people, their kids are into it, and they say, okay, I'll pass this down to my son or daughter or whatever. Or you might have a nephew or a really good friend who's into it.
Yeah. And
you can will it to them. Maybe, or if you like, and I hate to say like terminally ill, and you know your time is short, you could sell it off.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Sell it yourself before they do, because odds are they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be bothered. They're not going to do it the right way and get the most out of it. They're going to call like the local toy shop or some other dealer, and those places, the majority of them, they operate like a pawn shop. The next person down the line will be lucky to get 5-10 cents on the dollar for it. That happens quite a bit, and this is where sometimes these monster collections turn up that dealers have, where they have storage lockers full of stuff, and they're like, they paid next to nothing for it because these people didn't know how to sell it right. So you got to establish, does anybody want this?
Yeah.
Who deserves it? You know, I'm actually thinking of Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino.
Oh, yeah.
And he had that beautiful car, and he actually built it himself because he worked at the factory in the movie. If you didn't see the movie, a little bit of a spoiler alert here. He had his son, didn't care about nothing. He wanted to stick him in a home.
Yeah.
And his son had kids, and the kids, I mean, they'd bring them over to visit. Let's visit Grandpa. And he hated them coming over, but he got along well with the neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, Grandpa got along well with the neighbors, Eastwood. He learned to. He didn't like them at first, but they came to an understanding.
Yeah.
But then the kids, I mean, they're just looking around.
Yeah, what they gonna
what
get?
am I going to get when
die?
Grandpa kicks it? And she so knew, that little spoiled brat. She so knew she was going to get that car.
Yep.
And didn't.
Yep.
Because
he gave it to the neighbor.
He gave it to someone who he knew would really appreciate it and love the vehicle.
Yeah.
And so it's not even a matter of, I'm going to leave this to my kids. Are you going to leave it to somebody who really not only wants it, but will appreciate it?
Yeah.
That's tough. A lot of people, their kids don't share the enthusiasm. Like my son, Warren, he's into this stuff. He loves it. I've mentioned it before. He owns Nerdtastic Plastic in Illinois, and if you go to any show in Illinois or Michigan or any of those local areas, he's probably at one of those shows. And so he sells, but he's also a big collector. So he loves this kind of stuff. Probably not everything I have, but at least he would appreciate it. And if whatever he didn't like, he could move it well if he wanted to. He could at least get a fair market value. If your kids don't like it, you don't have a relative or someone close to you you could pass it down to that's going to love and appreciate it. Like if something happened to one of us, the other of us, I couldn't sell any of her stuff. I would keep it all. I would love it as much as she does, and vice versa. You know, I don't think she would want to sell any of my stuff.
The one thing I told him, like, if I die first, don't let my mama get my sewing machine.
Oh no. She's probably gonna watch this too and be like,
"What? You won't give me your sewing machine?"
Oh
nope.
Man. Oh, that's awful.
No, but I mean, I couldn't touch nothing. I probably wouldn't even clean it. I'm so heartbroken.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to touch the stuff.
No.
I'd take really good care of it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to get rid of it. But maybe some of you are fortunate enough that you have a spouse, a really good friend, a relative, a child who is into it and would appreciate it. You know, I think also of Second Chance.
Yeah.
Because that's Second Chance is the name of a store in Georgia. And it's a father and son operation, vintage toys. But they're both big collectors, and Chance is still kind of a young guy. And so if something happened to Dad, he would probably want to keep all of that stuff and take good care of it.
It reminds me, I used to listen to this finance thing on the radio when I worked at nights. And this guy, Dad had died, but he had a lot of gold coins and silver coins and left it to the son. And the son saw it and was like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
So called in to the radio station and was like, hey, my dad died and left me. And it was a lot of coins. And what should I do with it? And they told him to sell it all. Because it was worthless. And it didn't mean anything. And people have
gold coins ain't worthless.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, for investment, because they were all about investment. Take the money and invest it in stocks and bonds. And
personally, just on the side note, that is not a good recommendation.
No, but I was just thinking because the guy's dad knew the value and said, okay, my son will be set up really good.
Yeah.
If he needed money, he can sell a couple of coins to pay for this, maybe grandkids' college or pay the house off.
Because value on precious metals always comes back. It goes up and down like everything else, but it always comes back.
Yeah,
you know?
It just made me think of how it felt when I heard it. Just felt ungrateful because the guy was like, "I don't want this," and I mean, he said it on the radio. I don't want this, and I don't know why he had all of this stuff. And some people look at your things and that's what they think. And sometimes they won't say it out loud, but they're like, man, when you leave, I got to clean all of this stuff up, and I don't want to be bothered, and blah, blah, blah. And people do that, especially if you have a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, your kids, all they thinking is, man, when mama and daddy die, I got to clean all this up. And
yeah, they look at it as a burden.
Yeah, as a chore and a burden, not like, okay, I can, you know, easily go through this stuff and think of some of her friends or his friends and who might want this, or even ask somebody with some knowledge.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, mom, dad died. They left me with this stuff. What can I do?
Yeah. So that brings you to another point, another possibility. If you don't have anybody who would appreciate it and deserves it, make a plan and make sure that whoever it is you're setting this plan up with understands how to dispose of it properly, rather than having a yard sale or calling an estate or doing an estate sale or even calling an estate service, because they'll screw you, or just dumping it on a dealer, or even just donating it all because they don't know what it's worth or care. Make sure they know how to dispose of it properly, have a plan in place so that they can get the most out of it.
Will it to somebody.
Yeah. So they can get the most out of it if they do decide they want to sell it all. Alternatively, too, you could make a really, really big grave and just take it all with you like the Egyptians.
Yeah. Didn't George Burns do that with his money? He was buried with his money. I think it was him.
I don't know.
And somebody else was buried in their car, and they had to outfit the car, you know, to take the gas and the oil tanks and all of that stuff out so it could be buried with the car. Yeah, just get an extra coffin, or just a big enough grave and put a cement box in it and just set everything nice and neat in there.
Get a mausoleum and then set up your display in the mausoleum and seal it.
And then you got the little keyhole, because when we used to take pictures, you look through the keyhole see all.
I used to do that. We'd go to the graveyards and they'd have the mausoleum, and if you put a camera lens to the keyhole, you can look inside, and they're actually, a lot of them, very ornate inside.
Yeah, very elaborate. They got benches and really nice stained glass and other kind of things in there.
Stuff you wouldn't think of when you're looking on the outside. It just looks like a stone building, but when you peek in there and it's got the light coming in from the stained glass windows and stuff, it's like, holy crap!
Yeah,
you could hang out in there.
Yeah,
you know, it's like if the family had the key, you know, the family should have the key to the mausoleum.
And the grave keeper.
They could just go in there and just like sit down and have lunch and talk to their departed loved ones.
I guess.
But
put my stuff in a crypt.
Yeah.
Get another box and just put it all in there, and my statues and everything.
Or maybe some people, not that there's too many of them that you could do it with anymore, but I mean, there's a handful of toy museums out there that could be donated to if you were inclined to do so. Yeah, I know the moon in the room just went down. She's like, oh, screw that.
No, because I don't know. Yeah, that's like giving it to Goodwill.
They don't get a lot of traffic anymore. Any museums.
No.
Museums are falling off, especially the toy museums. I remember the Marx Museum closed down in like 2017, 2018. It went under. And when we went to the Lunchbox Museum, we were the only ones there.
Yeah.
There was nobody there.
And that was a nice museum.
Yeah, there's a lot to see there.
And
we did a video of it on this channel.
And that's somebody's personal collection. That was that guy's personal collection.
Thousands
he did
of
have
lunch
stuff
boxes.
for sale.
Yeah.
Stuff that he had duplicates of, but it was his personal collection. And he had it in the back of an antique shop.
He's a much older guy. And I remember thinking about that. I was like, wow, I wonder if he has anybody that he can leave this to that's going to still appreciate it as much as he did.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to consider.
Yeah, some people will. Some people will really take care of it if they get an understanding of the items, and then your feeling and devotion and the passion you have. Then they'll be like, okay, I don't like this, but I knew they did, so I'm going to treat it well.
Yeah, show some respect.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just do like Gilbert Grape.
Burn it down?
Yeah. No one's going to get it, bastards. Set it on fire before the investigators start like putting stuff in their pockets when they come around to your house.
Yeah. Yeah, just burn. And then you just lay in the middle of it.
Viking funeral.
Yep. You just lay in the middle and just burn everything down. Mm. It'll all go with you.
Oh, now you're talking about like Fahrenheit
451.
451, yeah, with the woman standing in the middle of the
burning
book pile, laughing.
And she burned herself down with the books.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm dying with these books. Yeah, you take all of your worldly possessions that you care about, you put it in a room, and then you just light the match.
Oh my God. This is what took a weirdest turn.
That's what you do.
But anyways, back on track. I just hope that, I always hope that a collector has a child or children that understand and appreciate it as much as they do, that they share in the interest. And, if you have a young person, it's not that hard to incorporate them into having a love of the various hobbies as much as you do. And there are those that stray, because, a lot of collectors, I don't know, maybe they didn't make a well enough connection, or maybe the kid just never got the point.
Yeah, some people are just not into things.
Yeah,
and
they're
that's
just not into things.
Yeah, and that's fine. You're just not into it, but you can still have a healthy respect, though.
Yeah.
And maybe say, hey, Dad, I respect what you're doing, Mom, or whatever, but I'm really not into this.
Or maybe they'll come to love it, like that girl in Seinfeld. Remember Jerry was dating that girl, and she had like a wall display, and it was all of her father's toys who passed away.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, this my shrine to my father. He loved this stuff, and so I take care of it, because she appreciated that. Jerry didn't, though. If you remember
Jerry
that
had
episode,
everybody come over and play with the toys.
Jerry was a bastard, a real bastard in that episode.
Yeah, he was.
But hell, all of them really are, except for Kramer. Kramer's just kind of crazy. But anyways. Like I said, hopefully you have someone you can pass it to or leave it to that will love and appreciate it. If not, you got to make a plan. You got to make a plan, or they're going to be stupid about it. I promise you, because you see it all the time in these estate sales, or when you find stuff in the thrift, which isn't easy anymore. Finding stuff in the thrift stores, because the Goodwill cherry picks it. If it's a collection that's really good, they send it to their headquarters and put it on their auctions. But mistakes are made all the time with this stuff, so at least make sure there's a plan of action in place in case no one really wants it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And I don't know if you guys have any other suggestions. A big topic of discussion, I think, really.
It is, and it's
something
an important discussion
to
have, and a lot of people I know don't like talking about death. They don't want to talk about just getting a will, a power of attorney, or anything. I try to talk to my parents about it, and everybody clams up. My brother won't talk about it at all.
People scared.
Yeah, and they don't want to talk about it, but it's a reality of life, and it's something that we all got to face one day. So it's better to make your plans and your wishes known while you're alive. Write it down. Get a living will, get a will for, after you die, and have it, put it out there, let people know this is what I want. And
and that's an important point too, because then there's always the relatives who are going to try to, if they know it's really valuable, because there are some people, their action figure collection is worth a lot. Comic books, you know, somebody could be sitting on $1 million comic book collection and not even know it, because they don't care about that aspect of it, so they don't think about it. And then the relatives, they come out of the woodwork.
Yeah. It's like when you win the lottery.
Yeah, everybody shows up and they want to try to debate it and pick it apart because they know it's worth something. And you've got to intercept those people before things happen. Yeah. So that no one will turn up and be like, nah, that's mine. He told me this and that. And, you know, because it could happen.
Yeah. So, it does happen. And that's a shame. It is.
Because people are dirty, even in your family.
Yeah, people nasty. And you're like, I ain't saw you in 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. And suddenly you around because you want something. Yeah. You know, you want to profit off of my death.
Your own family can be the worst.
Yeah. And usually they are.
Yeah. So again, thoughts. Feel free to post your thoughts in the comment section down below. Give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of the video. We hope you did. And maybe it's something that you haven't thought about at all. Yeah. You know, maybe it just never occurred to you. It's like, oh, damn. Or if it's a fleeting thought. For some people, it's a fleeting thought. Every once in a while, it pops into their head. Yeah, my kids aren't into this. You know, and oh well. Yeah. And you move on, because what else are you going to do? But you do have to sit there and contemplate it. But again, let us know what your thoughts are. And if that's it, then what more can we say? But thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.